it wasn't until I was 18 that my mum told me that there was more than just an accident. And it was pretty much, yeah, I think I was 18 years old when we were having a walk in the country, and she said, I'm going to tell you something I haven't told you before. And it was pretty dark, like really dark. Hey.
Hello.
Good
You
to see
right?
you again. Come in.
Yeah, you too.
I don't really know which ones to show you. Oh, actually, this one's really nice. So that was my dad's best friend at university, Pat. He actually married Georgie and me. See, he's very consciously tried to give me like dad elements. He's been very present and close to my mum, and you can tell that he's really trying to kind of give me some, I wouldn't even know what the word is, but just fathering stuff. I remember when my mum's tap had broken and I was maybe a teenager, we were talking about it around my grandparents' house. This is my dad's dad. And he was like, well, why don't you just fix it, Alex? And there was this real way about him that he was concerned that I had not been given those kind of basic DIY skills because I'd just been raised by my mum, that I couldn't change a washer in a tap or something. So I've had a few of those instances that I've been quite aware of where it's kind of been noted by someone else that, oh, because you haven't had a dad, you've missed out on that aspect. But I mean, I now make furniture and build stuff and I'm really handy, and I didn't get it from a dad. Not really sure where to put this thing. Not sure where else. All my old plans of things I've made for people here.
What are these plans for?
Desk. When lockdown happened, a lot of people had to work from home, obviously, and I had a friend of ours who, she knew that I built furniture and had seen some of the stuff I've done. So commissioned me to make one. It was a really good project. It was probably the biggest thing I could make in here. Anything bigger I'd struggle with. And I did it in spring, summer. So I did a lot of it out in the garden. Like I put this trestle table out in the middle. But no, it happened to me. I was working in like office corporate jobs. I really started to question where my life was going. It also came at a similar time actually that my granddad died. I inherited all the tools. I'd been doing this furniture making course and it just kind of all led into doing more of it. And the reality is I'm never happier than when I'm just making something out of wood. The biggest thing I'd ever made actually at the time, we have fire pits in the garden sometimes, and everyone just kind of sits around, and then that was this like lent up pallet thing, and I always had this intention to make it a little bit better. And then when I came round to it, I was volunteering at the Bristol Wood Recycling Project, and they always have these lovely natural edged boards. And I just thought, if I'm gonna take this rickety pallet thing apart and build something proper, why didn't I build something proper now that I can? So I built this bench out of it, and I got a plaque made up to my granddad, I guess, kind of leading on from that my dad has that bench in the village we used to live in. I don't know, I just thought it would be a nice idea to dedicate this bench to my granddad. So yeah, on it says for Derek Jordan, whose tools and teachings made it possible. So this bench that my mum's sitting on, when we moved to this house in Oxfordshire, I think that's what my mum did with the life insurance money. She bought us a nice house in a country type village to give me like a nice quiet community-like upbringing with not any trauma. And this is in the park there. It's a bench dedicated to my dad, which I've seen a few times since. Been back and it's always still there. But I think my name's on it. It says like something about, you know, loving father to Alex kind of thing. And these are the kind of things I get told about my dad. Like he was into like metal and dressed in like black shirts with holes in it, denim jackets. There was one somewhere of them going to Reading Festival, and he's got like a massive cowboy hat on and stuff, and a big rope around him. Oh, this was after they graduated university. Him and two friends drove a Land Rover from London to South Africa. It's hard knowing, you know, there are all these stories about him, and obviously I can relate that that's my dad, but because I never knew him as a personality, it's like whatever I've put in my mind is what I'm imagining in those stories, and it's not actually putting him in. I don't know. And the closest I get is watching, you know, like family movies. You know, we've done that a few times around my grandma's house because she's got just like endless. They were really into the whole handy cam thing when it started out. Oh, these are the pictures that always get me. And there's video of like this kind of stuff going on, which is the type that I was saying. If we ever watch them with family, they kind of tears. Everyone starts crying because they just realise what I'm missing. Like we were really close and he was such a good dad. And we were such a tight little happy family. And yeah, I'm kind of curious about what difference it's made not growing up with the dad. I like at all, really. I mean, I say at all. It was the first 15 months I had dad, and then he died. It's like I haven't really lost anything that I knew I had. But then I'm always looking to what I could have had and what difference it would have made.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what difference it would have made. I really have no idea. So I'm about to have a kid, first kid. So Georgie is like 7 months pregnant now. And pretty much around the time I was thinking about just having a kid, not even knowing that she was pregnant, I just started wondering, I don't know, how am I going to father if I haven't had a father? Just that question just like arose, and it comes from a place of wanting to fix myself, but also not wanting to pass on the bad things. But in order to fix the things, you kind of just first got to be aware of what they are. So I guess that's why it's a bit of a voyage of discovery in a way, because I don't really know what effect it's had on me and if it's even been a negative effect. I mean, some aspects of not growing up with a dad, or also growing up with a single mum, I wouldn't say not growing up with a dad, but growing up with a single mum has given me some really positive things. Hello.
Yeah, you right?
How you been?
Yeah, good. How are you doing?
Meet little Forrest.
Oh, he's adorable.
You come in?
Yeah, one of the things Alex and I have both been trying to do over the last couple of years is to turn into the sort of people that we want Forrest to grow up with, so that we don't impart our bad habits or criticisms of ourselves on him. And I think we've both worked really hard to do that over the last couple of years, Alex in particular. I'm not saying he's got more faults than me, but I think he had more work to do. I think that's probably the way to say it, that he, I think he's been very nervous about what sort of dad he would be like, because he didn't grow up with a dad, obviously, and he didn't know what his dad was like. I think not many stories were shared until quite recently what his dad was like, and from what I hear, they are the same person, which is really nice to hear.
I mean, I'd like to know what happened, but also like one reason I wanted to know was because I thought the information would be helpful in how I become a dad. But I think having done dadding for only 3 months, I mean, there's tons left, and I know there is still loads of valuable lessons to learn, but I'm doing all right, and I'm not as, I guess it's, I'm not as afraid of how I'm going to be now.
Lots of my friends have grown up without parents, actually, one or the other. And it's a very sad thing that a few of Alex and his friends have in common is that none of them have their dads and haven't really grown up with them. And I don't think it's talked about enough from the dads, losing your dad. And I don't think it's talked about enough at all. Like I said with Alex, I don't think it was really massively talked about in his family because it's so painful.
In general, modern culture, we don't talk about death. It doesn't really necessarily affect everything all the time, but there are just these certain milestones or certain decisions or something where you're just like, I can see that loss has like confused me, and I think that could be what happened with this. Like, I have genuinely been pretty fine with the loss of my dad all my life, and then you're right, when I knew I was going to have a kid, it brought up, I had to think about it more. So it's cool being past that now and looking back and understanding that, that was like my way of it bubbling up again. I mean, essentially, the biggest change has been, and I've said this to George, and I don't know if it's just having a kid or if it's because we're moving or what the combination is, but I genuinely think this is the first time in my life when I've actually been looking forward to the future.
Daddy.